Yeah, I do too. So I apologize for any coughing or clearing.
Yeah, I drove with the air conditioner on blowing on my head last night driving home.
Okay, we're live, so don't put any of your personal stuff out there.
All right.
Hopefully somebody will show up and be able to tell us if they can hear you or not.
Am I loud enough?
You're fine. It has to go through, I think, my speaker to my mic, so I don't know if it's loud enough for that yet. So who are you wanting to talk about first?
Um, I guess Anthony Todd.
Okay. This dude?
Yes, some say he looks like the Michelin Man.
The Michelin Man. Okay.
Yeah, or Pillsbury Doughboy, or
Looks like somebody showed up out there. If you can tell us if you can hear Maria, that would be wonderful. Hi, Peggy Johnson. You're from MRB. Subbed to you for a while. I just lurked. That's fine. Yeah, she's loud and clear. That's perfect. That's all I needed to know. Thank you very much. Uh, okay, so let me pull up my articles. So I'll start with the article about. So you sent me the article. Or actually, you printed it out at work yesterday and stuck it on my
yeah.
desk. I came back to seeing this on my desk, and I thought, "Good Lord, if my boss came by and saw this, what would he think?" No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. He knows we follow this stuff, so I guess he probably wouldn't be too surprised. Family of Florida dad Anthony Todt found decomposed with stab wounds in home as new details emerged. The wife and three kids of Anthony Todt were all wrapped up in blankets and decomposing, with three stabbed in the abdomen when deputies discovered their bodies inside their Florida home earlier this month, according to documents unsealed Friday. Deputies with the Osceola County Sheriff's Office noticed a strong foul odor when they entered the home in Celebration, located near Orlando on the outskirts of Disney World, to execute a federal warrant for Todd's arrest. And arrest affidavit said. The 44-year-old Todt could barely stand and appeared to be shaking as he tried to walk down the stairs from the second floor, a deputy said in a written report. When asked if anyone else was in the house, Todt said his wife, Megan, was sleeping upstairs and his kids might be at a sleepover. Deputies called out Megan's name, but no one responded, the report said, adding that the odor grew stronger as they reached the second floor, where they found the four bodies and the body of a dog with very visible decomposition in a bedroom. While standing outside of the master bedroom, I could see a person laying on the floor who was wrapped in blankets, one deputy reported. Sticking out of the blankets was a foot that was black and blue in color.
Mm.
Megan Todt, 42, was found lying on a bed with two stab wounds to her abdomen, according to the arrest affidavit. Their two sons, 13-year-old Alec and 11-year-old Tyler, were on the floor beside the bed. Each one had one stab wound to the abdomen. Their 4-year-old daughter, Zoe, was found wrapped in a blanket at the foot of the bed under her mother's feet. She did not appear to have suffered any stab wounds. The cause of death was still pending for each family member. Call records released by the sheriff's office showed that worried relatives made several calls after it appeared the Todts had been missing for days around Christmas time. They've been really sick. I guess they've had the flu, Todd's sister told law enforcement during one call on December 29th. They've had the flu for probably a couple of weeks. They were really down and out during Christmas. The only person we've been able to talk to is my brother, and now we can't get a hold of any of them. Deputies checked on the home several times, but were unable to make contact with the family. They said they found nothing suspicious and were unable to enter the home on their own until they ultimately served Todt with the federal arrest warrant on January 13th for directing an alleged Medicaid fraud scheme at his physical therapy practice in Connecticut. Todt had confessed to murdering his family and their dog, Breezy, after deputies took him into custody, the sheriff has previously said. He faced 4 counts of homicide and 1 count of animal cruelty. So that's definitely a terrible, terrible.
Sad case.
Peggy Johnson said, "How in the world did he stay there knowing what he had done to his whole family? I'll never understand it." I don't understand that either. And okay, the police show up with a search warrant. Well, yeah, an arrest warrant. They're going to search your house. I mean, because you have family members that are missing.
Apparently,
and when you say your wife is upstairs sleeping, you don't think they're going to check on her?
Well,
these criminals.
Not very smart.
Okay, they used to do these little little snippets, like World's Dumbest Criminals and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I swear some of these, I wonder what their rationale is in thinking that they're going to be able to tell such a ridiculous, pardon me, a ridiculous story to law enforcement, and that law enforcement isn't going to be able to figure out that they're being lied to. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't understand these guys that are killing their whole family. I don't understand. I think the biggest thing that I have an issue with is I don't understand why do they kill their kids? Like, they're generally speaking, your kids really haven't done anything to you. As a matter of fact, it's your fault that they're here. So, I don't understand what they think eliminating their children's going to do for them. No good can come of that.
Well, apparently they're saying that the wife had no idea. I don't know how she didn't have any idea, but she had no idea about all his financial problems that he had. Apparently, they were living way above their means.
Okay, but let me tell you, if the situation was he did all the finance, I mean, I live in a situation where my husband, he has no idea if I'm paying the bills or not. He has no idea how much money we have in the bank. If you're in a marriage that operates where one person controls all the finances, the other person either doesn't care, doesn't want to worry about it, doesn't know how to handle it, isn't good with it, I can see how this absolutely could happen.
Yeah, I think I don't want to make excuses for the man, obviously, but I think he thought that this was he went to the point where he thought they were used to this lavish lifestyle and that he would rather kill them than them see him as a failure.
Then tell them that they're having money problems?
And to see him as a failure, as him being the reason for all of it. When the wife would find out that he was defrauding Medicare and stuff, I mean, he was into his eyeballs in debt and defrauding, and he knew they were after him. The funny thing is that they came to his house not for the family. They came there because they had begun looking for him because of the Medicare fraud, and
right.
So they were there for something else. And another article I saw is that they saw him walking into the house, and they came up behind him, and as soon as they walked in, they smelled a strong odor right away. So I don't know how long. They're saying that the bodies were. Read several reports where the bodies were in just early decomposition. So I don't. They were there for a month. I mean, you would have thought they would have been, decomposing for quite a while, and they
I'm
were stabbed in
surprised.
the
Yeah,
stomach.
if they were like that for a month, I am really surprised at the. Well, I mean, I don't know how close the houses are, but you would think the neighbors would have been, noticing something. Um,
I don't know. Would you be walking by a house? Could you smell it from the outside? I don't know. Oof.
haven't you? Yes, I mean, sometimes old people have died in their house, and their neighbors is the reason why they get found because, they after a few days they haven't seen them. They go to the front door, they knock on the front door, and they smell something. I mean, I guess it depends on where you're at in the house and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, how in the world could you live in a house for a month like that? It had to be unbelievably horrific smelling.
Yeah, and I read other reports where they said he didn't look like that before. So I don't know if he was just sitting there, depressed, eating, and stuff, or who knows if he was doing any kind of. I don't know if he had. If they said he had any drugs or any kind of anything in his system, but he looks bloated, like he was doing something, because that's not what he usually looks like.
Right. Um, so Peggy Johnson said they get away with it even if they go to prison. They're protected in prison and have a life. Whether good or bad, these murderers are alive. The family didn't get to make that choice. That's true, except for um, they don't always stay alive in prison, and they're not really protected in prison unless they end up right off the bat being put in solitary, knowing that they're at risk to be. I mean, the funny thing about that is that even people in prison who have committed horrendous crimes, they still have a code of conduct, and they don't like it when, people do things to women and children typically.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's true. Well, here's a. I don't know if you know this about a little background on this man.
Okay.
His father, years ago, put a hit on his mother years ago, and he hired. Apparently, he was some kind of special ed teacher, and he hired a one of his former students that had a learning disability. He paid him $800 to go and kill his wife because he was having an affair with the 21-year-old. Back he was 25 at the time, so was his wife,
This
and
is this guy's father?
this is this guy's father. And so the young man testified against him in court and said that he kept badgering him until he finally did it, and he only paid him. He was going to pay him $800. $800. He goes, you can go in there and you could shoot her, you could rape her, you can do whatever you want. I just want her dead. And so he went and he even gave him the gun to kill her with, but he misfired and he shot her. In fact, the bullet is still lodged in her head. It went through her eye, and she survived. And she did not believe that her husband had hired this young man. In fact, during the court proceedings, she actually sat next to him and supported him through the whole thing and stuff. And he ended up getting 20 years. And the young man, I think, got life, or not life. I think he got more than 20 years, but he ended up getting 20 years, but he got out earlier. And his father is out and about. He's remarried and out and about and stuff. And then the young man said, "I never got the $800." He goes, after I shot her and stuff. He goes, "I was scared of him, so I just took off and stuff." Because he says, "I was afraid might do something to me too and stuff." And the wife later on finally came to the realization that after she had supported him all through the court proceedings, that he in fact did hire that man to kill her so that he could be with the 21. And the 21-year-old, he had not told her that he was married. He said he was divorced, and they had already had arranged a wedding. She already had been looking at dresses and stuff, which reminds me of the Chris Watts case. But anyway, she was ready to marry him that following April and stuff because she thought he was divorced. And it's just, oh my gosh. And I don't know
That's
exactly how
crazy.
old this. I know. So it's almost like it was in his blood. I don't know what to say.
Well, I mean, I
But the
guess
father's wrong.
if there's some sort of,
Brain
mental
damage.
illness, that certainly could be.
And he's
That's
out free. He's out free. He's out in the
Well, I
world
mean,
free.
if he served his time, I'm sure he is. That's crazy.
I know, but who's to say? I mean, if somebody's going to try and kill one person, who's to say they're not going to do it to somebody else after they get out? I mean, to me, if you're going to do it once, you're going to do it again. That's crazy. But she
Well,
survived. I mean, she's. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know
well,
how old he was at the time.
a lot of times, I mean, I guess it's possible for, only I guess it depends on what triggers them to kill. I mean, if they don't ever end up in that situation again, I mean, maybe they wouldn't, but it would concern me a father, putting a hit out on his wife and then a son killing his whole family. That would lead to thinking that there might be some kind of mental illness in that family tree somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, and just because you want to be with the other girl, well, why didn't you just divorce her then? I don't get that. Why would you? Oh my gosh! I mean, it
Well,
seems like people are going to
that's just like this one.
the swaths.
You know why? Peggy Johnson Nightbot is my little robot that throws out some messages for me. It's not really a person. Hang on. Sorry. Um, but this guy, he just he just wiped out his family, and yes, he committed a crime. Yes, he very well was possibly going to go to jail and have to, come up with a bunch of money to pay. However, he is still going to have to pay a penalty for that. And now he's killed his whole family. Now, how does that even register that that's the thing you should do? Okay, I'm getting in trouble because I've been scheming the government. And so, yes, killing my family is going to make that all go away. No. I mean, I can understand that he would think that his wife, um, was going to be mad or whatever, probably divorce him. But how is that worth taking her life? And not only hers, but all of your kids. Like, the kids didn't do anything. The kids didn't have anything to do with this.
I think that he just thought that if he went to jail, if he that A, maybe he didn't want to look like a failure, and B, he figured that they wouldn't have any support. They were better off dead. That we're seeing that more and more now with these people that are killing their families. Either they're doing it because they have something on the side that they want to get, so they want to start over. They would have a reset or SWATs, or with this one, that they're better off dead because I'm not going
But
to be here to help them, not support them.
okay,
I don't.
but if you're thinking on that line of thinking, okay, um, hang on. Peggy Johnson just said, "I know I've heard you say it, just making conversation with it. I only have my doggy to talk to, so why not your bot?" Oh yeah, I mean, Loopy Lisa tells me that Nightbot is my best friend. So I mean, that's I don't know what that says about me when my best friend has to be a robot. But I mean, yeah, it's fine. I want people to, if they're talking to it, know that it's only going to say certain things, that it will not actually be able to respond to your comment to it. Although I'm sure at some point they will make them to where they can. But Maria, back to what we were talking about. If you are of the mindset that you think, okay, I'm going to go to jail and I'm not going to be able to support my family, and so they're better off dead. There's an awful lot of people in jail. A whole lot of people in jail. And so how in the world do all their families get by? I mean, obviously death is not necessary, because even what might be the breadwinner of the family goes to jail. Look how many women deal with their husbands die, um, you know, while their kids are still young, and they might be homemakers, but they go out and they figure it out. They go out and they get 2 jobs, and they support their kids, and to think that that would be a reason that you need to wipe out your family is absolutely ludicrous to me, and I don't understand it. I can see people thinking that, but I just can't. I just can't, and
Right,
I am
right.
getting
Well,
so
you don't know if you
tired of
escape.
right, and I'm getting so tired of seeing all these poor children, you know, murdered because of the indiscretions of a parent, and it's ridiculous.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, I know.
most of these people have families, right? So a lot of these cases that we're seeing with this type of situation, where these males are murdering their entire family, because yeah, it generally seems to be males doing this. They have families, like they have their family, and their wife has their family are still around. It's not like most of the time it's not like they're off in another country and unreachable or anything like that. They're usually involved and around, and they would have been available to take care of the kids, you know. Um, so I guess I just don't understand, unless your ego is so large that you just think that, well, my family couldn't possibly survive without me. It's kind of like the ego that someone thinks, well, my company couldn't survive if I, quit working here. Maybe it's that egotism that causes that. I don't know. But absolutely makes no sense that they kill the kids. It doesn't make sense that they kill their wife, but that happens quite frequently because, men get violent, and, you know, women either aren't prepared, don't see it coming, or don't know how to stop it from happening or whatever. Peggy Johnson says, I just can't understand why the kids, they may think since they killed their mother, they don't want the kids to grow up without their mommies. That's the excuse some use. There is no excuse to me. I agree, because then you have, hi, the Bryan clan. Then you have these other ones that just kill the moms, and the dads go to jail, and they're leaving the kids without parents. But they didn't see that. They didn't seem to think that it was necessary to kill the kids because they killed the mom. I mean, very, very. Peggy Johnson said, and the Bryan clan, thank you for listening. Peggy Johnson, selfishness. Some even think they're going to get that life insurance and start all over. Sorry for commenting so much. No, I love people commenting. Um, yeah, sometimes that is the money that they're after, but then sometimes there isn't even any money to be had. Um, I
I don't know. The fact that
I
this one
thought
doesn't have doesn't have any women. He doesn't have a side piece in this situation. Makes me think that that's why he just figured he was showing some kind of in his warped head that it was better that they were better off dead than to
okay.
live
Now I've been
what
trying to
they
catch
had to
up
live
on
with.
so many. I've been trying to catch up on so many cases lately, and you're better at remembering this stuff separately. Um, was there a life insurance policy in this case? Did he have a
I
life insurance
don't
policy
believe
on his wife?
so. No, no, that's see this case he didn't do it for money. He didn't do it for because otherwise he didn't tell anybody they were dead, right? He didn't do it
Right.
for anything like that. It was just, I think it was just a mercy killing. He just decided, just like you go back to Christopher Longo, where a case a long time ago where he was in big financial problems, and he just wiped out the whole family. and stuff. He figured that they were just better off all dead. I mean, he even killed the dog. That tells you that he figured everybody's better off dead. Because he killed the dog too. I mean, he killed the
Well, yeah,
dog. You know.
that is an oddity there because yeah, usually that doesn't happen. He wasn't bankrupt, was he? Losing everything? He was bankrupt, wasn't he? Losing everything? Well,
Everything. Yes, they were losing everything. He was going to go to jail too for fraud.
yeah, but the kids weren't going to go to jail. And it's possible that the
No, but he,
wife wouldn't have gone to jail. I mean, honestly,
no, yeah, right.
if he would have gone to court and said, you know what, my wife had no idea, I dealt with all the finances, I'm the one that did this, she had no clue. Like, it is very possible that the mother would not have gone to jail. And
Sure,
uh,
I don't think she would have gone to jail. I just think that he would have looked like a failure in her eyes, in their eyes. Some men, that's a big thing for men.
right,
That's a
right,
big
right,
thing for men.
right. Unfortunately, it
You
shouldn't cause them to kill their family. But I understand where you're coming from with that comment. This
I
is
think he'd been doing it for so long. He'd been robbing Peter to pay Paul for so long, and he was. I mean, he had been defrauding Medicare for a long time, and they were living lavish
right high
lives
on
and
the
stuff.
hog.
So
Yeah,
all of a sudden he could look like a failure. I mean, men, that's a big thing for some men that where they will
yeah,
go to the point of just
yeah. It hurts their ego,
yeah.
and
I mean,
ego can be
everybody.
a really big thing for them. Yeah, yeah. This is
Better
a
off
really,
dead.
really, really sad
So
case, and I know that we're discussing things that are not like necessarily brand new, but it's because we've been out of the loop here for a little while with the holidays and being sick, so we're just trying to catch up our discussion because obviously we're very opinionated and we want to get our our discussion out there. Okay, so who do we want to talk about next?
these headphones I'm wearing because
So you
they're cutting
have
out for some
you
reason.
have you're not using the possessed ones, are you? Peggy Johnson has an interesting comment here. I wonder if the doggy tried to protect those kids and made him upset, or he knew he'd be leaving it alone in the house with their bodies and knew what would happen. Really sad. Oh, that's terrible to think about, but that is a possibility. But honestly, like if you have a dog in the house and you know you're gonna kill your family, you could honestly just open the door and let the dog run loose, and somebody would take the dog to the shelter or take it in. Pardon me. All right, so you have your choice: the Daybell Vallow case, Rothwell Seivers, or Dulos.
Hello?
Huh?
I can't hear
Maria, can you hear me?
you very well. You're cutting out. Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me now? Hello. Hello. Do you have it on speakerphone or you have earbuds in your ear? Uh-oh. I think Maria, you just muted yourself. If you can hear me, you just muted yourself. Your mic is not connected. I think I'm gonna text her and real quick and tell her your mic is disconnected. Okay. Peggy Johnson, I just want to let you know, we're actually, we did a live last night. I don't know if you listened to it, Mrs. Roger Rabbit and I, and I've lost her. But if you ever want to participate in discussions outside of our lives and stuff, I have a Discord channel that a bunch of us communicate in. Pardon me. Feel free to join. Device not connected. She came back in. Let's see. This one is good. Hello? Hello?
Okay. Yes, can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're still
So,
cutting out.
am I cutting out for you guys out
Okay.
there listening? Or is it just Maria's
it's going.
equipment? Well, you're kind of cutting out a little bit now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Are you on earbuds?
No, I turned them off.
Okay. So are you on speakerphone now?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe it just needed a minute to clear itself up. Maybe it was because finally the other you that was in the studio left. There was two of you. That could have been the problem.
There's two? No,
There was two of you in here. Okay, so I was giving you your options as to which case did you want to talk about next. Seivers, Rothwell, Dulos, or Daybell, Vallow.
Oh, we can do Dulos. Oh, what a sad case that is.
All right, so let me pull up.
I feel so bad for his kids.
Okay, so we just did. Wait a minute. I don't even know what I just read. I can't find it. Here we go. Okay. So I found an interesting report. So I'm going to read it because it was just written this morning. And I thought this might be a little interesting to throw into the mix, right? So with the death of Fotis Dulos following a suicide attempt, dueling efforts are underway to open a probate file in the case, including one by the mother of Jennifer Farber Dulos. The estranged wife Dulos was accused of killing Dulos' attorney and Gloria Farber, Farber Dulos' mother, are both planning to file probate estates in a race to see who can control what few assets he may have had left before police said he killed himself. Since Farber Dulos is missing, Fotis Dulos' parents are both dead, and his 5 children are minors. One of the Dulos' closest relatives is Farber, who has been taking care of the couple's 5 children since Jennifer disappeared on May 24th. Dulos apparently didn't leave a will naming an executor. I guess he's the executor. Sorry. Executor or a beneficiary. That's interesting because for somebody having that much money, you would have thought he would have had a will. But attorney Norm Pattis said Friday that he would fight Farber from having any control given the acrimonious relationship between them. We obviously are taking actions ourselves to open an estate on behalf of Mr. Dulos, and we don't think that Mrs. Farber should have any involvement, Pattis said. This is Mr. Dulos' estate to be administered, not Mrs. Farber's. Attorney Richard Weinstein, who represents Gloria Farber, said Friday that he also plans to open a probate estate for Dulos as a major creditor with a stake in some of the properties owned by the Fore Group, Dulos' home building company. I think the thing that's a little interesting in this, hang on, is I know that they have determined that she's probably dead. They still haven't found her, right?
No, they have not found her
And
body.
so the proceedings, I'm sure, have not been done to determine that she's dead, so that everything would have gone to him, and then he died. So this is going to be very interesting to see how they work that out. Weinstein said that he wouldn't allow Gloria Farber to personally administer the estate because there are clear conflicts. She is suing her son-in-law, arguing that he owes more than $2 million to the estate of her deceased husband, William Farber. That action is pending. I will ask there be a temporary administrator appointed, Weinstein said. I don't expect there'll be a positive money flow from his estate. He was selling furniture from the house on eBay, so he had no funds. Weinstein said if there was anything left of the estate after all the creditors were satisfied, the money would go to his children, which is the right way that should happen. Dulos died Thursday, 2 days after he was rushed to a New York City hospital in the wake of a suicide attempt. Police found Dulos in the garage of his Farmington home Tuesday in the front seat of his Chevrolet Suburban. The garage doors had been closed and a vacuum cleaner hose had been clamped to the tailpipe and run into the interior of the vehicle, sources said. Farmington police found Dulos after he failed to appear at Stamford Superior Court for a hearing to potentially revoke the $6 million bond placed on him following his arrest earlier this month for the murder of Farber Dulos. The South Carolina company that secured the bond had raised concerns about whether real estate he posted as collateral had been overvalued. In the wake of his death, who represents Dulos' estate, could become an issue if an unusual attempt by Fotis to push forward with the murder trial moves forward. Fotis has filed an unusual motion seeking to keep the case going by substituting Dulos' estate as the defendant. Fotis said he wants the case to continue to trial to vindicate Dulos, who he said has been pilloried by the media and found guilty by the public without ever having a trial. Fotis filed the unprecedented motion after Dulos died Thursday in anticipation that the state will file to dismiss the charges after his death. On Friday, Fotis filed a separate motion seeking to compel the state turn over all the evidence from the murder case. The motion said that the state has ignored the request since June and that even though Dulos has died, the state would still be required to turn over the evidence. If the state does not possess evidence that proves that Fotis Dulos murdered Jennifer Dulos and actually possesses evidence that exonerates Mr. Dulos, the Dulos children deserve the finality, certainty, and peace of that answer, and they deserve a refocused effort on the part of the state to find, try, and convict Jennifer Dulos' real killer, Fotis wrote. Since there are 2 petitions to administer Dulos' estate, the judge will have to hold a hearing to determine which one is more qualified. The hearing would likely take place quickly, and each side would have to present who they would choose to be the administrator. Weinstein said anybody can open a probate case on behalf of someone who has died, but in this case, Gloria Farber has a major interest in the estate, particularly Dulos' Jefferson Crossing home in Farmington. Gloria Farber has a $2.3 million mortgage on the Jefferson Crossing home and is required to pay $21,000 in property taxes that Dulos has not paid. A trust on her behalf recently filed a foreclosure notice for the house. Another 4-group property at 61 Sturbridge Hill Road in New Canaan also is in foreclosure. A property, 60 Mountain Spring Road in Farmington, has been on the market for several months. Police believe Dulos went to the Mountain Spring Road property property after murdering his wife on the morning of May 24th. Police believe that Dulos that morning drove an employee's red Toyota truck from Farmington to New Canaan, where he was laying in wait at her home on Wells Lane in New Canaan. Farber Dulos was last seen that day when she dropped her children at school that morning. The arrest warrant said, after killing Jennifer Dulos, returned to the Mountain Spring Road and, along with his then girlfriend Michelle Troconis, cleaned the Toyota truck. Police said they later found the DNA of Farber Dulos on the front seat of that truck. Troconis is facing conspiracy charges in the case. Dulos' financial issues also were part of a recent civil trial in which Gloria Farber sued Dulos, claiming he owed her husband's estate more than $2 million from loans for the Four Group to buy houses, fix them up, and resell them. A financial affidavit for Dulos submitted during that trial showed that as of May 7th, Dulos owed more than $60,000 in credit card bills, had two outstanding bank loans totaling about $4.2 million, and owed Michael Meehan, the guardian ad litem for the couple's 5 children, nearly $40,000. Overall, he listed assets of $363,000 and debts of nearly $5 million, not including the $2.5 million at dispute in the current trial. The affidavits do not include certain real estate holdings of Dulos' Four Group real estate company, while the documents do list as liabilities sizable loans that Dulos personally guaranteed for houses that are owned by the Four Group. It doesn't list those homes as assets. That includes properties, including a house on Mountain Spring Road in Farmington, whose values could exceed the debts listed in the affidavit and could potentially pay off such loans if they were sold. Now, how's that for interesting?
Yeah. I think this is another one of those, is like another Patrick Frazee case where I don't think they're going to find her body. If somebody says where it's at.
Oh, hang on. It looks like it seems like Peggy Johnson was posting links. Yeah, yeah, we have it set up that links are not allowed to be posted. Sorry. Huh.
Okay.
I wonder if it just thought it was some kind of link. Maybe I'll put Streamlabs in a timeout. I don't know. Streamlabs is having terrible issues, so maybe that's the problem, because Streamlabs never shows up in my chat, and I don't even have Streamlabs running right now, so I might have to look at that. Yeah, we'll have to slap Streamlabs on the hand or something. I'll have to look at that afterwards. I'm sorry if it blocked some messages or something. Actually, it probably timed you out, so it's probably why your messages didn't show up. I would just re-put them in if there weren't any links. I don't know how. Maybe where I was the only one commenting at the time. No, that shouldn't do it. I think that the program Streamlabs, I used to use it for streaming other than doing these, but it's having some serious issues, connection issues and stuff. And I'm beginning to wonder if there's something hanging out there that shouldn't be with it. Okay, so we'll go back on topic, but I do apologize.
Yeah. Weird.
It deleted. Oh,
her
well, I
comments.
see a bunch of comments from her. I don't know. I couldn't see it while it was happening because I was reading an article. I'm sorry. I don't see any that's blocked. It just deleted her. I don't know. But hi, Mandy Hall. Thank you for joining us. I don't know what's going on. I will turn off the Streamlabs. I will go back into Streamlabs and turn that off though. It might be through their website. I'll have to look into that.
That's a mind of its own.
I guess. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they're going to be fighting over what could possibly be left of the estate. And I'm wondering who's going to get the kids. So what is your take on this, Maria, on this whole case? Are you surprised that he killed himself?
Yeah, because to me, did we get what would he put in the note? They said that he left a note that said he was not guilty. I mean, was there anything else besides I didn't do it kind of thing? To me, I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm thinking, okay, if you weren't guilty, then you should have fought for your kids. You should have fought. You know, how many people go to jail that are innocent and then do it, and then eventually they keep fighting and they get out. I mean, yeah, this had to have been pretty depressing for him, but if he was innocent, but they find him on camera with the blood and the bags with her blood in it and stuff. I think he did to her body what Patrick Frazee did to body to his fiance back then. I don't think we're ever going to find her body. I think her body is in some very, very small pieces somewhere. And that's why they haven't found her. But I mean, if you were innocent, you wouldn't just go out like that, right? You'd be like fighting,
right?
You know, especially you had 5 kids and stuff. You'd be fighting. If you wouldn't just take the high road. And these people that think that they could just kill themselves, and that's that, are in for a rude awakening. You know,
right?
It's just it doesn't work out that way, dude.
Mandy Hall made a comment. Says, "Won't Jennifer?" Mandy Hall said, "Won't Jennifer's family get custody?" Well, generally speaking, if he was found guilty of murdering their mom, yes.
Oh yeah.
But that's him killing himself. Kind of throws it all over the place.
I'm guessing the two families.
I agree.
Have to fight for.
Oh, Mandy Hall says, "I agree. She is unfortunately scattered around." Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they're find that body. He's that poor thing. It just very sad. I don't understand why he had to do that. I don't get it. If he did it, I mean, I don't know if he did it or not, but sure looks like it.
Yeah.
Killing himself didn't make it look any better.
No, because most people will assume that he did that from a guilty conscience. Or
I don't think he did it from a guilty. I really don't. I don't think he felt guilty at all. I think he did it because he didn't want to go to jail. He had gotten in trouble several times with the judge and stuff. And the last time the judge said because he kept screwing around and leaving the house when he wasn't supposed to. He was supposed to be under house arrest, and he messed up the memorial they had set up for her because he said they were mocking him by having that memorial.
Well, that's another thing. That's another thing. You talk about that memorial. Why would he mess with that? If I mean, you'd think he'd be mourning her. Why in the world would he be messing with that if he hadn't done something, you know?
Well, supposedly there's Facebook pages out there where they were saying that they had put up that memorial to make him feel bad. So he decided that he's there arrogant. Apparently, he was a very arrogant and prideful person. The
Right.
last time the judge said that he couldn't go out and do any business deals, so that he couldn't make any money. He's a rich
Right.
guy. He needs money and stuff. That was, I think, the last straw for him. And he's thinking, I'm not. If I'm going to jail, I'm not going to go to jail and stuff. I think he did it very selfish. Did it all for himself. I don't think he felt 1 ounce of guilt. I don't think so. I think that he did it because he didn't want to go to jail. He didn't want to go to jail. He took the easy
I don't
way
disagree
out.
with that. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. The Bryan clan said, I'm surprised he killed himself, fool. Peggy Johnson said if he didn't, he sure had a hand in it, I believe. He never acted like he lost his wife. He went on with his life as usual. See, that's the part that always gets me. They don't understand why they look so guilty when they're not even upset that their children's mother died. Even if it's not, your wife, you don't look at it like that. This is the mother of your children. Mandy Hall said at the Bryan clan, easy way out. Peggy Johnson said 1 night in jail and he knew he couldn't handle that. That's very possibly true.
Yeah, and there's no way he can handle jail. No, not at all.
Right. Yeah, this
he had a pretty easy life. He wasn't going to be. Frankly, I think he thought he didn't think he deserved to be there and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was so arrogant. Why he didn't hire somebody to do the deed? Why he would even think of doing it himself is a little baffling.
Well,
people like that usually usually hire somebody. They don't get their hands dirty.
Especially when you have kids. I mean, you're less. You have more of a chance of getting away with it if you can get somebody else to do that. Not that a lot of them get away with it, but if you do it yourself, I mean, you're especially if you're not normally a criminal, you certainly are much more likely to get caught.
Right. Well, then he had that deal going on with his friend lawyer, right? They were both going to kill their wives.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how all that's going to, what's going to come out of that. Like, is somebody going to talk and say, okay, here's the deal. Here's what happened, or is everybody just going to keep their mouth shut and they're not going to be able to prove anything and it's all just going to, quietly float away. I'm really interested to see how that turns out. Because
without a body, I mean, there's no body. So
right. And
and now that he's dead, I don't know how that's going to work.
I don't either.
Girlfriend and stuff.
I have no idea. It will be interesting to see how that plays out. Okay, so we have 3 more cases here. We have Seivers, Rothwell, and your Daybell Vallow. You get to pick.
Oh, Vallow, yes. This one here is very weird. The Vallow and Daybell.
Yeah, I have an article. Let me read my article, and then you can say whatever you want.
Okay.
I have to find it. Okay. So this is the
Disregard my clock.
That's okay. It's lovely. And
music for payment.
Yeah, YouTube will just have to put up with that for the moment. So I actually have an interesting article that I found about this. There's actually a YouTube video. I'm not going to play it. I can I can put it in the chat if anybody wants to take a look at it after we're done. I think I screwed up that link. Don't use that. Maybe not. I thought I typed an extra character, but I don't think I did. But I'm going to read this article. It's actually the brother said something. So Rexburg, Idaho, after being missing since December, many are asking where are 7-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan. And what happens now to their mom, Lorie Vallow, after she missed Thursday's deadline to physically show her kids to the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare or the Rexburg Police Department? Less than 24 hours after missing the deadline, Vallow's 23-year-old son, Colby Ryan, spoke, but they obviously did not use proper English there. It should just say spoke out for the first time on YouTube. Are you playing that? Because I just heard myself feedback into my speaker.
Who, me?
Yeah. It sounded like I was coming through your phone into my speaker.
Oh no.
Okay. It said, he said, I feel ignored. I feel angry. I feel like I'm so confused and still trying to go on every single day, Ryan said. Tylee and JJ have been missing since September. Last night, I just thought I'd feel better by some type of answer. But if anything, it just made everything worse, Ryan said. Earlier this week, police found their mom, Lorie Vallow, and her husband, Chad Daybell, in Hawaii. I feel like I've just lost everything in such a short amount of time. The only reason I'm doing this is because I feel like this is the only way I get to talk to you, Ryan said. On Thursday, JJ's grandmother told KTVB the couple was still in Hawaii. A judge must now decide what happens next and what charges Vallow could potentially face. I want you to show them and step up and do the right thing, and that's what I've been praying for, and that's all I want, is to see the kids and for the situation to have some type of closure, Ryan said. In the nearly, I think I linked the news article. In the nearly 13-minute YouTube video, Ryan not only addressed his mom, but Lorie's ex-husband, Charles Vallow, who was killed. I want to grab this link real quick. Copy. Who was killed in July prior to his disappearance of JJ and Tylee. I didn't really get a chance to process that for a long time. It felt like it wasn't real, and obviously, you being gone physically, that was probably the hardest and worst thing ever. You did and everything you could for me. You taught me a lot, Ryan said. He also had a message for his siblings. Tylee and JJ, if somehow you hear this, I love you guys so much. I care about you guys so much. I miss you, Ryan said. On Friday, Rexburg police told KTVB they are moving forward with the case, but could not further explain because the case is sealed and protected under the Child Protection Act. Meanwhile, Kauai police is still standing by and waiting for direction from Rexburg police, according to the department's spokesperson. Okay, so here should be the correct link. I can't really put myself in timeout, but maybe I can delete the link. I can't until I go to the video, I bet. Can't delete it from here. It won't let me. It'll let me ban myself, but it won't let me. Won't let me delete it. All right, so what do you think? Where do you think the kids are?
I don't understand why she's hiding these children and how the police is not like, oh well, we gave her the deadline the other day to produce the children. Oh my gosh, there goes my clock again. Stop.
It's okay. It's okay.
I don't understand how they. they would. It's distracting me. Where are these children? I mean, why is she hiding them? I mean, I don't understand why she would hide the children.
What if they're not alive?
All that? But why would she kill them? Okay, I don't know if you know the background of this lady.
I don't.
And why her husband was divorced. Her husband was divorcing her because apparently she had been engaging in some kind of affair with this other gentleman, this Chad Daybell.
Okay.
He was married, she was married, and stuff. And he writes books. He's in some kind of Mormon, like I say, Mormon church, because it's not really considered like a church. And again, I hate these people that come out like this and stuff. Then they're setting dates, and they're religious fanatics. Okay, and he had wrote a lot of books about end times, and that he was in some kind of a Mormon / cult of some sort and stuff. And she had started reading some of his books, and that's how she had gotten fascinated with him. And then she reached out to him, and then they started talking, and then
they had a relationship.
All of a sudden, she was telling her husband that she was a god, and that she was sent here on Earth to carry out the mission of the 144,000 is spoken of.
Oh, so this is some kind of she's driven by some kind of religious fanaticism,
and that Jesus was coming back, that the Lord was coming back on July 2020. She was supposed to mission before he came back, and that if her husband stood in her way, that she would kill him. That is in the actual divorce papers. And so he was filing for divorce. So and somehow he went over to and her brother was there, and they got into some kind of altercation, and the brother shot the husband, killed him.
Okay.
And her brother named Alec. And then he ended up dying, and that was like in September, and then in December he ended up dying of just, they really didn't say what kind of reason he ended up dying. And then shortly after that, Chad Daybell's wife ends up dying of natural causes, supposedly after 30 years. And then they get married. Chad Daybell and Valerie.
Now this is kind of very suspicious.
Lorie, they get married. I know, right?
Mandy Hall, right? Mandy Hall said, "Why hasn't she told the police where the kids are? If she was innocent of any wrongdoing, she would." That's my way of thinking. I agree. I'm just more concerned that maybe the kids are not alive. Like maybe she really can't produce them because they're not alive.
What we need to find out is what this mission is, and I'd like to dig into it better. What this mission is that she's supposed to be fulfilling, because maybe that's possibly what happened to the kids. Is what this mission is. That and first of all, if
she's a god, right? Because she's a god and
stuff, and she wouldn't be threatening to kill her husband, because that doesn't fly, right? So there's and then they just take off to Hawaii, and then they find them, and then where are the kids? They can't produce the kids, and so then judges her deadline, and then she's still running around. I mean, hello, I would be banging down the door. The police show up at the house.
Well, I guess the problem is, though, legally though, just because she didn't produce the kids, I mean, is what she's done a jailable offense at this point? I mean, yes, she has not cooperated with an order from a judge, but not all the time is that a jailable offense.
No, but see, and Chad Daybell's wife, they had buried her, right? After she had died. But since all this has come to life, they exhumed her body, because at the time they thought it was natural causes, but then they exhumed the body, and now are saying that she died of suspicious causes.
Oh.
So.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
well, that's
she was perfectly healthy.
See, to me, all these people dying kind of goes along the line that maybe the kids are not alive. Whatever this plan that she thinks that she's fulfilling, or whatever her crazy idea is, maybe, like, maybe, what if she had her brother kill her husband, and then she had to kill her brother so that he, so it couldn't be tied back to her?
I
They would
know,
have
right?
been
Just
arrested
kind of a
in the UK
convenient.
before now. Yeah, unfortunately, like, arresting somebody here is very difficult. Really, really difficult. In some cases. Other cases, not so much.
I don't know,
Unfortunately,
but
I feel like children are not as protected as they need to be. But then on the other hand,
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what this, because I obviously I've read the Bible. I know that the 144,000 are, if she correctly, that's supposed to be from the Jewish people. The 144,000 is 12,000 from each tribe of Israel, as it clearly
Right.
states it in the Book of Revelation. So I don't
Right.
know what their little whacked up job they got going on about with this, though.
Right,
I'd like to look
right,
into.
but isn't the Mormon isn't the Mormon faith where they think
Yeah,
that they
Joseph Smith.
Right.
That's their
So I
prophet
mean,
that they.
yeah. Well, what they're practicing really technically isn't Christianity, and it's,
No, not at all. Not
it-
even close.
right, but yet they call themselves Christians, but they're also running with a book that Joseph Smith wrote, and kind of making that their Bible, and the other Bibles kind of almost secondary, it seems to me.
Yeah.
And so if you take
Obviously,
that,
she's not Daybell.
well, and if you take that and, let's say you're kind of creating a cult out of that. So you take that and then you twist it some more. There's no telling what she thinks she's supposed to be doing until she tells somebody, or unless somebody comes forward that knows what she thinks her plan is.
Yeah, there's something not right there, and I think the police should, jump on it, because obviously you can tell from just the fact, just what the husband stated in the divorce
Right.
papers, that she's something's not right there. I mean, come on, she threatened to kill him, and all of a sudden he's dead. People are dying all around her and stuff. It's like the Clintons. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. I mean, people are,
Right.
it's not. It's something's not right. It's convenient that both spouses end up dying, and then 2 weeks later. What? Really? That just doesn't happen.
Mandy Hall said the kids have been missing for a long time. They would have been brought in for questioning a lot earlier. It sounds cultish to me. Yeah, I think so too. And that's where the problem comes in, Mandy Hall. If it's a religious thing, they have to be very careful. The police do. They have to tiptoe. Maria, I don't know where you went. You kind of sounded like you were trying to talk, and then you got muffled.
Oh, right here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay, so sounds like we're probably going to be able to talk about that case next weekend again.
Yeah. Yeah, because I want to look into this cult that they were in.
I'm trying not to make this go too long, so we have two more things that we need to discuss. So, I'm going to move over here to Rothwell, and I'm going to read this article. There's not a lot of new in this case, so this won't be horribly long, but he did go to court. So a West St. Louis County man accused of killing his wife is made as they don't even know how to write these articles. Did they not proofread them? Has made his, it says it's supposed to be has made his initial court appearance Monday. Bo Rothwell, 29, was charged with second-degree murder in the death of his wife, Jennifer Rothwell. Police searched creeks, ponds, and wooded area near their home near Creve Coeur after Jennifer Rothwell was reported missing on November 12th. During the initial court appearance, Judge Jason Dodson and Bo would continue to be held without bail. He also set the next hearing in the case for April 6th, but the case is expected to go before a grand jury before then. If the grand jury indicts Bo, the case will proceed to trial without the April hearing. On November 21st, Jennifer's body was discovered during a search along Highway 61 near Troy, Missouri. Police switched their focus to Lincoln County after Bo Rothwell started cooperating with police in finding the remains. A probable cause statement said he was caught on video buying cleaning products, including bleach, carpet cleaner, and gloves on November 11th, the day before Jennifer Rothwell was reported missing. Inside the couple's home, the police said they encountered an overwhelming smell of bleach along with blood that matched the woman's parents' DNA. So, looks like we're either going to have a grand jury indictment or there will be another court appearance on April the 6th. So I told you that would be pretty quick. But this picture is from his court appearance. And then we have, okay, I thought I clicked the wrong thing off, but I didn't. Okay, so now we have the case that we were actually following before the holiday and sickness and everything else. And I have an article here. This is interesting because, they're pushing for a new trial, it looks like. Mark Seivers, a Bonita Springs man sentenced to death for the 2015 murder of his wife, will be back in court next week. This was published yesterday, so this is next week. Yes. Lee Circuit Judge Bryce Kyle will hear an amended motion for a new trial from Mark Seivers' attorney at 8:30 a.m. Wednesday, according to a court document. Mark Seivers will be transported from Union Correctional Institution in Union County to the Lee County Jail on or before Tuesday so he can be present for the hearing, according to the court document. Seivers was convicted on December 4th of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder by a Lee County jury in connection with the killing of Teresa Seivers, who was 46. Teresa Seivers was found bludgeoned to death on the kitchen floor of her family's home on Jarvis Road on June 29, 2015. Curtis Wayne Wright, Jr., a childhood friend of Mark Seivers, I have a really hard time saying this word, so I'm going to say pled guilty to second-degree murder in connection with Teresa Seivers' death in 2016 in exchange for a 25-year prison sentence. He is expected to be sentenced on February 10th. A third man, Jimmy Ray Rogers, 29, was convicted by a Lee County jury of second-degree murder on October 23rd after about a month-long trial in connection with Teresa Seivers' death. He was sentenced to life in prison on December 12th. Both of those, we did follow the other case that went to court.
Yeah.
So it looks like, I guess there'll be a ruling on that next week, or some movement of some sort on the motion.
Yeah, well, my philosophy was with that. He knocked two birds out with one stone there.
Yeah, you do have an interesting outlook on that. So they never did actually come up with the for sure motive.
Yeah, that was And then, all those texts. Oh, gosh. I know way too much.
Right.
There's things that
So
I've
so
learned,
since
I've
the
heard and
last
listened,
time
read.
right, so since the last time we discussed this on our True Crime Live, um yes, we have listened to people reading those texts, and uh I sure hope to God that that's not considered normal texting between people, because whew, some crazy stuff going on in those lives, those people's lives.
Clearly, the both of them had very warped. They had a very warped relationship. She was not as. I mean, I'm not going to accuse the dead, that and stuff. But as far as their sexual preferences, they were both about as
It does
freaky as
seem
they
they were
come.
very promiscuous outside of their marriage. It does seem that they did have some sort of agreement. Uh, what was difficult was, well, I thought it was actually interesting when you could tell the difference, the change in him in the texts. So his text to her for a very long period of time, was very catering to her and kindness, and seemed like I'll do anything, for you, whatever you need, I'll take care of it. Uh, and then all of a sudden, like, his little pet name for her, he quit using that, and it just, and it's interesting because we're hitting a point in time where everybody has cell phones, and I mean, including the kids. Our kids have cell phones, so we're being able to track people better when things like this happen, and that they pull all these texts, and then you can sit there and read, and to be able to read and feel the change in somebody's emotions just by reading what they're writing and how they're expressing themselves to their spouse was actually quite interesting to me. Now, I could have done without hearing about a lot of that stuff, um,
Yes.
because, well, I'm in
Oh,
a very traditional marriage. I'm Catholic, so that whole thing was very foreign to anything that I would consider okay for myself. Um, but it seemed to be their norm for a while, and so there did seem to be a clear change in him, but you couldn't tell what clearly caused that change. Um, so to me, it seems like something must have been building up, and it's something like, was the straw that broke the camel's back. Just, pushed him over the edge, and was like, I can't do this anymore. And his solution to I can't do this anymore was to have her killed. Uh, Mandy Hall says very strange relationship. Yes, yes, their relationship was very strange. And and to me, it's kind of even stranger to think that, like, if my husband murdered me and they went through all my now my husband and I, we don't text each other like that at all. It's always, like, what the hell didn't you lock the front door for? Or, please make sure the dogs go to the bathroom, that kind of stuff. It's not any of this kind of stuff. But to think that people would be, reading that on YouTube, out in court, I mean, just, it's kind of crazy when you think
on
about
his
it.
calendar. Look
Oh
at
my
that calendar
gosh,
where he wrote everything
I've
down.
never ever heard of anybody keeping a calendar like that. Mandy Hall
Oh,
also said he sounded fed up with her in his later texts, which he did. It's very much, he went from very, oh, honey, to, yeah, okay, whatever, just very, I felt
I really think.
calloused. Cold and calloused is about the way I would describe how I perceived it when the change happened in those texts.
Yeah, I think, you know, my philosophy there though is I think he thought there was something going on with her and the best friend. I really do think
Yes, I
he
know. Your
thought
theory
something.
is that there was something between her and Curtis who killed her. Well, you know, you still don't know
No.
exactly how that scenario played out, but you do know that he pled guilty and Jimmy Rogers was found guilty of murdering her. So whoever did what to her, they both certainly contributed to her death. But
Yeah.
your take is really interesting on that because I didn't even consider that a possibility until listening to what was on that calendar and the texts. Because he clearly mentions Curtis, and there had to be a reason. Because it seems to me, okay, so I had a theory, right? We both talked about this as we were listening to the case and everything. So your theory was that she had something going on with Curtis, and I had this theory of the reason why he wrote so much detail about their sex life in his calendar was ego, right? And I said, I felt that for him to need to feed his ego by counting how many times, you know, I'm not going to get descriptive, but you know, he
He
had
could
a good
pleasure her.
time.
Yeah.
He had a good time, um, or she had a good time. Um, I felt that there could have been, um, maybe he had a problem, uh, like you know, ED or something, uh, and maybe needed to take something to help his sex drive. And to me, that's what I took out of it. And if that was the case, I could very well see where your theory of she may have had something with Curtis, but maybe she didn't. But maybe Mark perceived that they did have something going on, and
Right.
that very well could have set the ball in motion. Um, So Mandy Hall says he was constantly being told what to do. He wanted someone else. Grass isn't greener on the other side. Um, it's possible that he wanted somebody else. I don't know that he wanted somebody else. I think what he wanted was I feel like he had this ego problem, and I think he needed to feel in charge, needed. Okay, so we got some comments coming in, so that's why I'm stopping. Andy Hall said, I think he was bisexual. They were both sleeping with Curtis. I don't disagree with that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she
Yeah, I think
said
that went
Mark
on.
wanted Curtis. Okay, so if you take that theory that Mark wanted Curtis, and you know that she said that, you know, she was fantasizing about Curtis. Now, if you take that as true, because I don't think we heard that in her text, did we? We heard that was well, no, that was him, right? That was his writing. Um,
That was all
but
his calendar.
if you take those two, then there's two viable things that could have happened there. He could have been jealous because he wanted Curtis, or he could have been jealous because he wanted both of them, but neither one of them to want each other.
Right.
And so that plays into your theory, though, Maria, that the best way to handle the situation was to get Curtis to kill her and frame him for it, right? So that both of them would be gone.
Well, it wasn't just that they'd be gone, that he'd sock it to him. You know what I'm saying? How dare you? You know, I love you and you're my wife and I'm crazy about you. And then, hey, wait, that's my boyfriend.
and I don't even necessarily think she ever did anything with him. I think what they did was from listening to all those texts and their
Right.
calendar and the warpness, that it was all fantasy world. And then she started introducing an actual person. Before it was always fantasy. And then they started introducing another woman into the mix. And then from there, it was they were doing that and stuff. But the first time though, she apparently did it with another woman without him, because there was it was in the text or in the calendar where he said something about that, and he was hurt because, worried she was going to do it again. She was going to cheat on him again. And so,
But isn't it funny how he was always worried? Isn't it funny how he was always worried that she was going to like have feelings for somebody, because that wasn't supposed to happen. But yet it didn't seem like she was worried at all about what he was doing. Not
Right.
from the text.
No. Not at all. She was like, go ahead and have fun.
Hello, Mrs. Roger Rabbit. You must have woke up. I'm sorry, Maria. You can finish in a moment. Mrs. Roger Rabbit joined us, and she said, I think she was done with his neediness and told him to get bent. He saw his meal ticket going away and probably taking his daughters. I don't disagree with that either. That is also very possibly what happened. The problem is we don't know for certain, because there was no motive that was proved. Mandy Hall said, yes, he wanted both, but didn't want them to want each other. And then she said he was insecure and needy. Go ahead, Maria.
Apparently they were all doing it. They were all, messing around with each other. It was a whole swinging, apparently, and stuff. Even with the new wife, I mean, it was a whole swinging affair going on, and stuff. But yeah, he did not want the thought of her. And not necessarily because Curtis just got married. He wasn't going to got married to be with his wife and stuff. It was the fact that she was fantasying about him and wanting him to be into the mix too. All of a sudden, it would have been a threesome of his best friend and his wife, and he wasn't having that, because I think his best friend was a little bit more than a best friend, and then his wife and stuff. Then he couldn't take that.
Do you think it's possible that okay, so if there was more going on between him and Curtis than just best friends, do you think it's possible he didn't want his wife to find out? Not Curtis, but Mark. That Mark did not want her to find out that he had already been having this relationship with Curtis. Mandy Hall's laughing at your terminology of swinging affair.
I don't think that would matter, because they were with other women, so
maybe he didn't want her knowing about him. Maybe he didn't want her knowing about that portion of his sexuality, because it had always been females before, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, he was kind of feminine though in his kind of texts and stuff. He sounded not like your normal typical guy talk texts.
He didn't even sound like your normal Mr. Mom guy either in those texts.
No. He was, even other people that he would text, other women and stuff, and he was he was nice in them though, and he's very nice,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they took a fantasy world. They took fantasy world and they made it real, and that's what happened. You take fantasy and then you go from fantasy to reality and stuff. It's just God didn't design us to do all that nonsense, and it will mess up your brain, and it will make you insane after a while. And behold, somebody's dead. It's not good. It's not good. So
yeah, somebody gets a little too jealous, and then somebody ends up dead.
Yeah. And I don't think that she might not even been really interested in Curtis. She might have just been saying that just to mess with him, get his goat, push his buttons.
So I can put Mandy's Hall. I had to okay it. I guess the word sex caused me to have to approve the message. But once it comes over to here it is. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Mandy Hall says Mark made too much of sex in his diary. He was attracted to men, in my opinion. I agree with that. I think that that kind of played into what I thought might have to do with his ego, and I do think that he was having some sort of ED issue, and maybe this whole swinging thing was part of what they tried to help him with his libido. I don't know, but it I have never seen or heard of a man keep such track of I mean, yes, when they're putting notches in their dashboard or their headboard, that's different because they're not. I mean, they're keeping count, but they're not like all the details of what is happening and what they did and what they didn't do and which did they go in the front door or the back door or I mean, I've never heard of anything in my life like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was really messed up, man. I've never in such detail.
You know what? I'm sorry. I
I
just made a funny visual in my head. I said that about the back door and the front door, and your comment of your swinging affair. And you know what? I visualized. I visualized the the turnstile doors. The like the one over at corporate.
Oh, right.
Where you walk through a whole thing, it spins around like this, and you end up in the building. And the thing will keep spinning. I guess their doors were swinging every which way. I don't know. Was quite the crazy case, though. And I guess it looks like he's going to be filing these motions, and we'll be finding out what happens with them. I can't imagine he's going to get a new trial, but I mean, I guess it's possible that some minor detail got overlooked in, stuff that they could end up throwing it out and giving him another trial or something. I hope not, but I guess it's always possible. Andy Hall laughed. I'm guessing about my comment. Well, we've been at this for an hour and a half now, Maria, and I really appreciate you coming and us trying to get back in the swing of this. I do have a case that I'm listening to, the court case right now. It was over in December, but obviously with the holidays and everything, I was not able to follow it. So I will be, when I finish that, we'll be talking about that too. I'm finding it to be quite interesting, actually. And I appreciate everybody for coming. If you wouldn't mind, please hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Bye, Mandy Hall. I'll catch you next time. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And please, please, please join the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of the video, all the videos on the channel. It's also in the About tab on the channel. We are working on trying to get some people together to work on some legislation and pressure on YouTube for some security issues we feel need to be addressed. And we also have fun on there and put jokes and all kinds of stuff goes on in there. So I really am encouraging everybody to join the Discord. It's not anything where you have to show your face or anything like that. You don't ever have to get into voice chat if you don't want to talk. You can, text, post links, pictures, jokes, whatever. And thank you all for coming. I appreciate you all watching and participating. and we will catch you guys hopefully next Saturday, because I'm going to try to make sure that this is happening every Saturday. We're going to talk about true crime. So if you have anything that you would like for us to talk about, look up. The best place to tell us about that is in Discord. But if you leave a comment on the video, I will try to make sure that we see it in enough time to include it next time. Thank you, Maria, for coming. I really appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It was fun.
And yep, and we will see you next time. Have a great rest of your weekend. All right.